Did you know that some countries have been kicked out of the World Cup? Yeah, that's right, banned from the biggest soccer party on Earth. Imagine spending your entire life preparing to play in the World Cup only to learn that your nation isn't even qualified to compete. Bruh, what a nightmare for players and fans alike. But it's actually happened more times than you might think. FIFA, the international football governing body, has the authority to exclude entire nations from competing in the International Cup. And they're not afraid to use it. In fact, they've actually used it a lot, okay? So let's discover why some nations got the red card from FIFA. First on the list is Germany. Yeah, Germany, really, the footballing superpower. They were ordered to sit this one out back in 1950. And you probably already have an idea of why, but anyway, it was right after World War II, and the world was still pretty mad at them, understandably so. Germany was split into different parts, and none of them were allowed to play. Can you imagine a World Cup without Germany? It's like pizza without cheese. The best part is that they returned and took first place in just 4 years. Isn't that the mother of all comebacks? It just goes to show you can't keep a good team down for long. Now, while Germany's suspension might seem a little surprising, they weren't the only Axis nation to suffer at the hands of FIFA. Let's travel on over to Japan, where a similar tale was being told. Now, Japan was expelled in 1950 for the same reason that Germany was. Japan was in the deep end after the Second World War. Japan was in the doghouse, so to speak, following the end of World War II. However, Japan's route back to football glory was a little bit lengthier than Germany's. It wasn't until 1998 that they qualified for the World Cup. 1998! That's almost 50 years! But boy, did they make a splash when they finally made it. Japan has hosted a World Cup and now participates often in them. That's really not terrible for a nation that was once banned, huh? Speaking of long roads back to football glory, there's one country whose ban lasted even longer than Japan's absence. And this one was actually the longest in history. Buckle up as we head to South Africa. I apologize, my South African accent isn't that good for a tale that spans decades. And prepare yourself for a wild ride. Absolutely wild. Now get this, okay? For more than 30 years, South Africa was banned. They were unable to kick a ball in any FIFA tournament from 1961 until 1992. And why exactly was that? Well, because of the horrible apartheid regime, which discriminated against individuals according to their race. No way, not cool, was the response from the rest of the world, which again is understandable, and they turned their backs on South Africa. What happened though when apartheid ended? Well, the ban was lifted, and in 2010, South Africa had the honor of hosting the entire event, not just participating in the tournament. What a change of heart. From decades-long bans, let's shift gears to a country that got in trouble for some sneaky business, okay? Pack your sombreros, as we're heading to Mexico for a story of attempted deception. Oh no! Now, Mexico's story is a little bit different, okay? Listen up. They were expelled in 1990 because they tried to cheat. Sneaky, sneaky. Their young team includes a few players that are older. It's unfair, much like sending your older brother to play on your school squad. When FIFA found them out, it declared, "Nuh-uh, you're out." The World Cup of 1990 was out of reach for Mexico. But don't worry, they learned their lesson and came back strong. Now they're World Cup regulars again. If you thought Mexico's age fraud was wild, wait until you hear what happened with Chile. This next story is so unbelievable it could be straight out of a movie. In 1989, Chile's national team pulled one of the craziest stunts in football history. During a match against Brazil, their goalkeeper, Roberto Rojas, pretended to be hit by a flare. Yeah, a flare, seriously. Even cut himself with a hidden razor to make it look real. Talk about dedication to the act. But FIFA wasn't fooled, okay? These guys are pretty smart, right? They banned Chile from the 1994 World Cup and gave Rojas a lifetime ban. Ouch! A lifetime ban? That was one expensive magic trick. While Chile's ban was due to on-field antics, our next country faced issues far beyond the pitch. Let's journey to the Balkans and dive into the complex case of Yugoslavia. Now, okay, let's get one thing straight, okay? It wasn't for on-field misconduct or cheating that led to their 1994 suspension. It was all about politics, politics, okay? The country was breaking apart, there was a war going on, and the UN had put sanctions on them, okay? FIFA, in their wisdom, decided that they were unfit to play while all of that was happening. Fans of Yugoslav football were grieving. If the team had played, it would have been amazing. But sometimes real-world problems are more serious than sports, even the World Cup. Next, we head east to a country that's had more than its fair share of FIFA trouble. Yeah, they haven't had the best relationship with FIFA, okay? Kinda like the friend who's always in and out of trouble. Things went crazy during a match versus Oman in 2011. The Omani players, the referee, the Myanmar supporters, and even the visiting coach were all pelted with rocks and bottles by the insane crowd. It was like a food fight, but way more dangerous, because it was rocks and not food. FIFA wasn't amused, and they gave them a prolonged timeout. They banned Myanmar from the 2014 World Cup. But there's still more. Myanmar also got in hot water for pulling out of matches at the last minute. Okay, Myanmar, listen up, alright? It's not cool to RSVP to a party and then refuse to show up, alright? It's just not. Now, if you think government interference in football is a thing of the past, go ahead and think again, okay? Our next stop is Kuwait, where politics and football collided not too long ago. It's actually pretty recent. Boy, was Kuwait ever in a pickle. FIFA placed them on more than a 2-year ban in 2015. Why? Well, because the government chose to take charge and meddle in the affairs of the Football Association. FIFA has a strong guideline that states governments should stay out of football. Stay out, okay? Interestingly, they'd been banned twice before, in 2007 and 2008, for similar offenses. And even though they were reinstated before the 2018 World Cup, they didn't scale through the qualifier stage. Now they've returned and are attempting to restore their football glory. Speaking of government meddling, there's another country that recently faced FIFA's wrath for similar reasons. Let's jet over to Zimbabwe for a story of good intentions gone wrong. Zimbabwe received a FIFA red card in 2022 due to more government misdeeds. The Football Association was under government supervision, allegedly because they weren't being accountable. They even raised some very important points regarding the lack of investigations into incidents of sexual assault. And yeah, that's pretty serious, okay? It seems like they meant well, didn't they? FIFA, however, would have none of that. The 18-month penalty was just enough time to allow for some significant match absences. The good news? They're back in the game now, ready to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Go Zimbabwe! And now we come to our final and most recent ban, a situation that's still unfolding as we speak. Can you guess who it is? Go ahead, guess right now in the comments. Okay, let's talk about it. Last but definitely not least, we've got Russia. The football community responded to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 with a big and definite no! But it wasn't just FIFA, okay? Several teams refused to play against Russia. Sweden, England, and Poland all said, "Count us out." FIFA was slow to act, but in the end they dropped the hammer. Every Russian team, whether national and club, was subject to an indefinite ban. That means no World Cup, no European Championships, nada. It's a big deal because Russia had just hosted the World Cup in 2018. Talk about a fall from grace. Okay, so let's wrap this up. what exactly have we discovered? Well, it appears that being disqualified from the World Cup is more common than you may have imagined. Depending on the situation, it may be related to politics, inappropriate conduct, or the classic breaching the law, okay? There's no denying, though, that FIFA won't hesitate to sideline entire nations for misbehaving. They're somewhat strict, okay? They've done this before, and they'll probably do it again. Who do you think the next country will be to be banned? Let us know right now. And that's a wrap, okay? Who knew the World Cup had so much drama behind the scenes, right? And next time you're watching a match, remember, those teams fought hard just to be there. So what do you think? Were these bans fair or not? Which story surprised you the most? Leave a comment below and let's talk. And if you liked this thrilling football story, click the subscribe button right now for more amazing sports tales. Until next time, keep it fair and keep it fun.